Welcome, I'm Philip Kevrin. Today's masterclass will be on circles. This is a collection of compositions that is written in circles. You knew I was going to go there. Circles are everywhere, and they are in music as much as any place. For instance, harmony tends to move around what we would call either the circle of fourths or the circle of fifths. And we also have 12 calendar months, don't we? And we have 12 major keys, and we have 12 minor keys. So my thought was to create a collection of etudes for the piano, study pieces that look at various techniques of piano playing, and put them in all of these 24 keys, and then base each piece upon one of the months of the year. So, as I say in the preface here, I have to point out that I grew up in the Northern Hemisphere. So when I'm writing a piece about January, it's going to be about cold and ice and snow. And if you're watching this you're in the Southern Hemisphere, in Australia or other places, you're going to say, January does not bring snow to mind for me. That's a hot month where I live. So that's a given here. This book, if you are a teacher, I hope you find these pieces helpful in your teaching. If you're a student, these pieces will help you to feel comfortable in all 12 major keys and all 12 minor keys. And they'll also help you learn some important technical skills in the process of learning the pieces. If you're watching this and you're a composer or arranger, I hope you'll get some ideas that will inspire and help you progress in your own composition and arranging skills. This particular book was one that I worked on for quite some time. I wrote pieces, put them in a folder, and thought, I'm going to finish this book someday. And it took me a while to get around to it, and I couldn't be happier that the book is now out in print. It is called Circles, Character Etudes in 24 Keys. And we're going to leave my workstation here and move over to the grand piano and look in more detail at some of these pieces. All right, so circles is organized in the following manner. C major is followed by C minor. So we're pairing them major, minor, and then we go up a perfect fifth, and we have G major, and then G minor. So it's parallel minor. Then if we go up a fifth, we have D, D major, D minor, etc. So I'm just going to show you a few of these to give you a flavor. Etude in C minor is called gray light. And gray light, to me, is describing that kind of thing that happens when in the winter when there is light in the sky, the sun's sitting up at 11 o'clock noon, but there's a lot of clouds, and you have light, but it's gray. It's very, very filtered light. And so pedal will give us that sound. Now, I pedaled it pretty much the way that I notated it in the score, but you could do this. I'm going to put the pedal down and not lift it. I went a whole 8 measures without changing the pedal. That forces you to bring the melody out above all of the sound that is gathering. But that's an interesting idea too. So as you prepare these pieces, I guess what I'm trying to say is this score is sacred and it's not. I wrote it down for you to be exactly, if you played it exactly as I wrote it, you would get a very specific result. But I hope you'll be open to trying other ideas with the piece. In this particular case, I would suggest trying this alternate pedaling. This piece in G minor is called Remembering. And what we're doing in this piece to create that feeling of remembering, reminiscing about something, is the top note of each phrase has a tenuto mark over it. And it's like this. You bring out that tone. And pause just a little bit at the top. You could even hold that top note a little longer and do this. Hold on to it. That creates an even more lingering, remembering kind of feel. I'm hoping that as you go through these etudes in circles, that you'll experience also some varying styles. And in this case, I'm going to dig into the sound of a jig or a jig, a good old Irish jig that is either going to be in 6/8 or 9/8. Yum ba bum ba bum ba 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 bum ba bum ba bum. It's a great feel. In D major, we get this. That kind of pulse has to be kept steady, lively, and not too heavy. Sometimes I will hear people play this kind of thing like this, where you're really emphasizing the first of each of those pulsing triplets, but just let them dance off the piano. The rhythm will be very clear if you keep it steady. Don't dig in too deep on each triplet. Lastly, end your jig leaving people wanting a little more. It literally ends feeling like it wants to go on. I love the feel of a jazz waltz. The traditional waltz, very straight, even. People had to dance to this. Then you had the Viennese waltz that a little more of a skip in that step. The jazz waltz is a swing feel, yup-ba-doo-ba-dee, applied to. It's a great feel. One of my favorite jazz waltzes is Vince Guaraldi's The Great Pumpkin Waltz. Go listen to that and you'll get the spirit that I'm trying to put across. In Etude in E minor is a little piece called Firefly Waltz, and it goes like this. That jazz waltz feel carries all the way through this piece till the ending, which is free. I don't know, that always sounds like a spy ending to me, but we'll use it on Firefly Waltz. The etude in A flat is called Lessons with Robert. And who I'm referring to there is Robert Schumann. And his style of writing at the piano very often will have a melody that floats over the top of an arpeggiation in the same hand. So you're having to where you're playing part of the arpeggio in the same hand where the melody is. And that's what we get in this piece. Now the melody's in the left hand. Back to the right. That is the etude in A-flat major. We don't have the time to look at all 24 etudes in circles. I've played for you a few of my favorites, but just keep in mind that you have 24 pieces that could be played in one complete cycle from beginning to end and have a very big piece, or you could play the etude in C major paired with the etude in C minor and have a shorter piece. In any case, these pieces are written to be musically stimulating, but also developing a very specific technical skill and a compositional style that will give you an overview of many different types of writing. I'm going to end with the etude in E-flat major. It's called Falling Leaves, and composers and songwriters forever have been writing songs trying to capture what is so magical about leaves falling. In this case, the falling motif is simply outlining an E-flat major scale. But when we color it with the left hand, we start getting color. So, climbing, now the left hand takes it, now the leaves are just swirling in one little place. Etc. So this little character piece describing a falling leaf is giving you lots of experience playing in the key of E-flat, and that's all fine and good, but I hope in the end you'll strive to make it a really strong musical statement, taking care to balance the melody against the accompaniment, do all those things that you want to do to make a great piece of music. Thank you for dropping by today. It was fun to play a little bit from circles. I'm going to just end this session with a little bit of the preface, just to remind you of what this collection is about. Look around you and you will see life is filled with circles. The earth circles the sun in 12 months. The clock is neatly divided into 12 hours. The harmony of music gives us 12 major keys and 12 minor keys. And harmonic motion flows naturally in a circle of fifths or a circle of fourths. So that underlies the concept of this book. It was a pleasure spending time with you today.